Hello, hi, good morning, everyone. So, how are you doing today? Today we're gonna have our fourth session of webinar under the Chemical Productivity Nexus Initiative. So, for today's sessions, still with us is Mr. Haridass Nagalingam, who gonna talk about export development. So this is the fourth module, yeah, in the syllabus of export strategy for the chemical industry, but it is also open for any other industries, yeah, to explore further on this. So before we start for today's sessions, let me introduce a little bit about our speaker today. Good morning, Mr. Haridass. Can you hear me?
Yes, good morning, Priya. Good morning to
All
you.
right.
Good morning, everyone.
Okay, so before we start, let me a little bit explain about Mr. Haridass Nagalingam. So Mr. Haridass is trade development advisory, yeah, from June 2017 to current. So he was also the ASEAN Custom Transit System project manager in August 2011 to July 2014. He managed the development of Asian Customs Transit System pilot project in Asian Secretariat. And he was also the Deputy Director of Trade and Facilitation Division of Market Integration Directorate, and also the Deputy Director of East Asia Divisions. He holds a Bachelor of Social Science Economy from University of Science of Malaysia, and then he also holds the Master of Business Admin from University of Constance, Germany, and Swiss German University. All right, so with vast experience managing the export industry in Malaysia, so today he's going to share with us the fourth module on how to the strategy of export. Yeah? So for all participants, in case you have any questions throughout the presentations, you can always put on a question in our question poll, in a question in the panel, and then we will try our best to revert the questions after answering by Mr. Haridass. All right. So without further ado, I'll pass the sessions to Mr. Haridass. So Mr. Haridass, you can start the sessions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Shukri. Hello, everyone. Sorry for the delay. As usual, this is something very new for us, and there were some technical issues that we needed to sort it out. But let me just start this module with you. Export strategy. We will look at what is the export strategy, and for you, developing a sound export strategy helps you define your exports aims and also match your resources to those aims. Your export strategy will actually help you manage the sectors you have determined as your core export business. In this module, we will discuss what an export strategy is and what has to be part of the strategy. And the module will revisit some of the areas that we have discussed in the last three modules. You have been with us from the beginning. And the export strategy will also address the why, what, where, who, and how of exporting. The strategy will also address how the company will have to manage their limited financial resources and how to manage risk, which is inherent in all aspects of export. Let me just start by letting you know what we have done. We have now into our fourth module. We have done three: the need for export, challenges of becoming an exporter, what it takes to be an exporter, and now we are doing export strategy. We have three more. In fact, we have 6 more lectures that will be coming up. We'll introduce them to you later. But today's topic is export strategy. And before that, let me recap module 3. Many of you are here, or those who are not here. The topic was what you need to be a successful exporter. We discussed about management buy-in and resources commitment. We talked about your strength in the domestic market and also about how you should understand your market, both domestic and foreign, to be a good exporter. We spoke about internationally accepted products, standards, packaging, and areas like that. We spoke about capacity, how important is production capacity to export demand, to meet export demand, because many times you've seen that you have got the orders, but you don't have the capacity and how to manage production capacity. We spoke about committed marketing team. Why is it important for your team to be knowledgeable, to be competent, to be efficient, to use the information is so much outside there, and it's up to your team to manage this information and make your export a success. We spoke about transport logistics, how important it is, and then essential support services like legal services, financial services, insurance services. We also spoke about how to source for information, what is available. Now in the web, there's so much information available, magazine, books, all those things. We also spoke about risk. We spoke about this in every subject, in fact, the need to identify and manage risk. Okay, who were with us the last lecture? I gave a sort of a video clip for you to look at about developing an export strategy. I hope you had the time to view this video clip, but if you had not, just let me recap the takeaway from the video. The video speaks about export strategy and export plan as a prerequisite to export development. It talks about why you should why you want to export, because that was our first lecture. Why export? There's so many reasons, because it will actually influence your strategy, your plan, so many things. But you need to identify. If you go to my first lecture, you know the reasons for exporting. There's so many. It could be revenue, it could be brand management, brand expansion, it could be managing excess production. So each one of these have got, you must look at it in a different strategic way. It's just not pricing, or it's just not earning revenue. Exports can do so many other things that will make your company or your business much stronger. And the video also speaks about allocation of resources for market development, the importance of identifying a custodian for creating an export plan. Somebody must take care. You know, if you look at it as a project management thing, it's a charter, and somebody must take care of the charter and the implementation of the charter. It also speaks about strategy and plan the strategic plan will be the guideline document. It will establish goals, market, activity, objectives, resources, expected results. So the export strategy is a very important document. The video also speaks about why a company should export. Export must be aligned with overall company objectives, not necessarily only for export, but other aspects of company objectives must be aligned with your export policy. Strategy must identify risk, volume, brand, image, budget allocation for all export-related expenses. Strategy must look at customer support. What are you going to spend on? How are you going to be helping your customer? The video speaks about export financial management, cash flow, clarity of payment, contract, method of payment, currency of payment. You know, all that must go into strategy. And then state time period for projected export success. You know, we have repeated it many times. Success cannot be success cannot be a short-term thing. There will be tendency to fail, or even if you don't fail, to improve on your processes. Okay, now let me move to the main subject matter of our subject matter of our discussion today. Export strategy. What does export strategy do? It actually maps out the following. It tells you why export, what to export, where to export, who to export, when to export, how to export. You know, it talks about financing of exports. This is a very important aspect that you have to put in your strategy. Expansion to exports. How do you expand your exports? What you should do? After a one-time export sale, how do you move to the next stage? How do you next to the higher stage? The strategy will talk about it. And then it also will, the strategy has to map out the focus on your key aspects of your export. Now let's take the first topic, why export? Export can mean you have to put it, is it an expansion of business? Is it a new sales stream? Branding exercise? Is it a new profit opportunity that you have realized that you want to export? All this affects the strategy. Changing global economic scenario, has that forced you to become an exporter? Is it getting better? Is it getting worse? Is the local domestic market being threatened by other suppliers, so you want to go into the export market? So this could be one of the reasons for your export. Reduce dependence on domestic market. So you want to share your risk between domestic and foreign market. Free trade and economic partnership agreements, we have discussed this in the first two lessons, and you will know that these are very important aspects of export, and maybe this is the reason you want to export. You find that new trade agreements and economic partnership agreements have given you an advantage because of preferential treatment, or because that you are open to new markets with less restrictions. That's what free trade does. It removes some of the restrictions that you normally face. Most probably your tariff rates have come down so much that it is very economic or very profitable to export. So this is, you have to find out your reason why you want to export. Once you establish that reason, then you know what else to be done. What to export? You have a challenge of product or service identification. Is your product good enough? And competitive edge, do you have a competitive edge over other countries? So maybe that is the reason you want to export, or or a competitive edge over your competitors in Malaysia, and then you think that you are good enough. Competitive edge not necessarily mean price. It could mean quality. It could mean volume. It also could mean new products, new trendy products, innovation. So that could be a competitive edge. You have a domestic market share, but then with so many players coming to the market, you might think that, oh, my market share is dropping, I might go into a foreign market. So that could be part of your strategy. A SWOT analysis on product to be exported, which is part of the strategic plan. You have to do analysis of your product, where your strengths, weaknesses, where the opportunities that comes to you. So you have to look at that before you export. That's part of your strategy. Global and specific country demand will drive your product, what to export. That will make you think, what am I to export? Because there's a global and specific country demand for my product or another product. So you will pick that product so that you have the market. And current quality of products versus international quality. So that is also what makes you decide what to export. If you have a product of high quality, then you want to export that. Costing and profitability. This I spoke earlier, but you also realize that's one of the reasons how you decide what to export. And production capacity. Maybe you have the production capacity to export certain items. That will be your decision. That will be a decision on what to export. Where to export? This is an age-old question. Everybody wants to know where to export. So your challenge will be identifying market identification. You'll be looking at target markets, where to go, what to do. Then market research will help you decide that. You will see the economic environment of the importing country, or where the country you want to export to. You will have to do a part of your strategy will be for you to do a PESEL analysis, the political, economic, social, technological, and environmental and legal processes. So this analysis will help you understand the market more, whether it's the risk is higher or the risk is lower. So you have to look at it as from this point of view, and that is why you decide where to export. You will do market assessment, you will do market analysis, you will do market demand. So these are part of your strategy. and you will find out where the competitive edge is, the competitive advantage of your product. It could be brand, it could be your country. Country branding is also important. So if you feel that Malaysian products of this make has got a brand advantage, people think, oh, from Malaysia, this product must be good. So that is also something you might look at when you plan your strategy. Availability of trade agreements, we have discussed this in the earlier stage. Also, special bilateral trade agreements, that is where you choose. I spoke about low-hanging fruits. These countries will provide you an easy access to the market, a less stressful and strainful access, not too much of complicated processes, procedures. They might give you preferential treatment. So that's where you decide where to export. Okay. Who to export to? There are so many choices for you. You can export to manufacturers, retailers, wholesalers. Government could be your buyer depending on your product. You can direct from B2C, business to consumer. Joint manufacturers, you could join in a partnership to produce something in another country where you send part of the product from here. Warehouse sales reps, people who do warehousing sales, will be your customer. Licensed manufacturers also could be your customer, and contract manufacturing. So you have to make a choice who you want to export to, or you have multiple choices. You have multiple choices to think and see who are you going to be a customer. So all this, once you do your customer identification, then you can narrow down to who are these people. Looking at contacts, looking at um, possible clients, how to treat these clients. Each one of these clients have to be managed differently. A direct consumer has got different needs and demands. A manufacturer has got different needs and demands. Your pricing will change. Your delivery policies will change, and you have to look at many different things when you are deciding. So all these items will go into your strategy. Once you have this there, then you will not falter on when you want to manage your customers. How to export? This is a big aspect of exports. Logistical support. In your strategy document, you have to think about the mode of transport. You have to think about type of packaging. Mode of transport could be many. It could be, they have multimodal transporters, air, railway, shipment by land. Also, type of delivery container. It could be frozen. It could be, normal cargo. It could be. So these are things that you might have to put in your strategy paper, so that you will very clear how your product could need a specialized form of transport. So from the beginning, I need this kind of transport for my product, and especially in the chemical industry, depending on the type of product or your nature of product, your mode of transport will change. So this has to be in your as part of your strategy. Type of packaging and delivery, container, LCL, FCL, pallet boxes. This will also depend on the product you are sending. Also will depend on the customer's requirement. So these are also things that you want to look at from the beginning. Type of packaging, delivery. Each country might have a different request for packaging. Again, if it's a chemical industry, your products might need a different kind of packaging, a different kind of labeling. This is what you have to do. You also have to put in your strategy on customs. There's a bit of research on this. Depending on the country you want to send to, Malaysia might be easy to export, but then importing country might have their own regulations. So you could be having custom brokers here, and also on the other side, depending on the type of delivery you're doing. If you're going to do um, um, as depending on your type of delivery, whether it is CIF or FOB. So your custom brokers will come and you have to put them in your strategy paper. And warehousing, domestic and foreign. So these are all involving costs. So you have to look at this as a cost. Receiving countries' custom requirements. So how challenging is it going to be? Receiving countries' import tax and regulatory requirements. So these are part of the strategy document that you will prepare. So once you address all these kind of issues in your strategy, then your strategic plan and business plan will coincide with this strategy. Financing of exports. This is another big challenging area. This is one of the areas that I feel that companies are always having challenges with export credit financing. Letters of credit, you have to talk to your banks, get a good banker or a financial institution that will support you with this. And this will go into your strategy again. And the export strategy, you have to consider all this, because if you don't have the support, your exports will fail. You have to look at insurance requirements. You have to look at financial risk, what can go wrong. You're talking about costing and pricing. The strategy will talk about how you're going to price it and what will be agreed credit terms. You'll talk about payment methods in your strategy, and you'll also put in your preferred currency. And once your strategy considers all these things, you will have to know how to operationalize these areas of or issues that will arise from these areas. Before I continue, there's a question here which says, how will knowing the reason for export define your strategic export development? As I mentioned earlier, knowing the reason for export is the basis or foundation for your entire export program. It will decide on the direction of your exports and its objectives, and it will also be a guidance to management and overall organizational business policy development. So you see how important is knowing the reason for export. It can be part of your it can be part of the national export promotion strategy too. If you look at the nation's export strategy, you can know why is there a need to export, and then whatever you want to export will be part of that national strategy, and it will become a basis for your export planning. The other question that I have is, would you consider where to export as the most important aspect of your export strategy development? To me, I would think so. The question is where to export. Is it the most important aspect of export strategy development? I would think so. Like I said, I would think so, as it is the main reason for export, and this will it is the reason for export, because you need to know where you want to export, and this will also decide on the many aspects of your strategy and export plan. Once you know where you're going to export, you will put in all these other aspects of export into your strategy and export plan. A well thought out decision on this aspect or where to export will be the front runner to your export development. Your first program or your first export will always be important to you. A successful first export will give you the boost, the impetus to go forward into the export field. Okay, let's continue with our presentation. Expansion to exports. Why is it important, expansions to exports? Once you have exported, you will want to expand your exports. But when you want to expand your exports, you have to look at the budget. This will go into your strategy again. You'll look at your international marketing team. Are you going to expand your team? Are you going to include new people in your team? Then you will want to look at training this team. These are part of the expansion process that will go into your strategy. What are the promotional expenses you want to include? What is your production capacity? This is important. This is part of your strategy. How much bigger you want to improve your capacity, or do you need an increased capacity because you're thinking of expanding your exports? The decision to expand exports will also involve warehousing. Are you going to use your own warehousing? Are you going to outsource your warehousing activities? So these are areas that will affect expansion to exports. Okay, the key exports of exporting. This time I'm repeating myself. You have to now look at the areas that are very important. What are the areas? Products and services. This is essential. First, you must know what you're going to export, or the services you're going to export. Is the product ready? Is it something that people will accept in an overseas market? Have you done your studies? Have you done a bit of a research? And have you made a decision what to export? And then market identification. These are key aspects of export. You have a country, which country you want to go to, which you want to export to. This is part of your strategic development strategy. And then you have customers. Who are your customers? Wholesalers, retailers, manufacturers. We have discussed that before. And this is a recap. And you will know once you have identified your market, the other aspects of marketing will come into the picture. Cost, quality, quantity, all this will come into the picture. Then your strategic document will also reflect the changes in the global trading environment. You have to, it's a dynamic document, you know, the strategic document will have to reflect on what's happening in the world. What are the trends that are taking place? For example, now COVID has come in, and there's a lot of challenges to exporters, right, from cost to suppliers challenge and whatnot. So how are you going to reflect? So you must make this provision in the document. Then pricing also will go as one of your strategies. Competitive advantage, you have to look how competitive your product is in terms of brand. So like I mentioned, country advantage. Do we have an advantage? Does Malaysia has an advantage over other countries with the production of a certain product? Then we have your strategic document will reflect the revenue expected. This is important. What changes is going to bring to your revenue stream. And you have to actually project and record this in a strategic document as a reference point for the whole organization to look at. Okay, I have a question here which I want to read out. Why should transport and logistics support be included in export strategy? If it can be outsourced, why should we have your logistics and logistical support included in the export strategy document? The question is, if it can be outsourced to a service provider, why we should include it into the strategic document? I think the implementation of logistical support can be done in-house or be outsourced depending on the needs of the exporter. There's no hard and fast rule where you have to say, oh, we have to do this or we have to do that. It all depends on your company's needs. If you need, if your exports are big and you want to set up your own department, which is fine. But most importantly, I think you have to think about logistics from the start, especially the mode of your transport for your product. And this is what needs to be included into your strategic document, that logistics has been covered and we will look into it as the need arises. But the strategic document will make a reference to how the management has decided to look into logistical aspects of export. You might just put down there and say, okay, logistics to be outsourced, then that will settle the matter, that anything that comes out of logistics will be outsourced to an outside company to manage the logistics. So it's up to you. And you can actually leverage on either outsourcing or your own, depending on your need. What are the other key aspects of export? The other key aspects of export are like cost management, that is for you to do, include in the strategic document. Financial facilitation, time period must be mentioned in your strategic document. What are your time period, long term, short term, for export development? And then you must include also your marketing and promotion plan in your strategic document. It's quite a variety of things that goes into this document for you to make reference. You must also put a risk table and risk identification and risk management table. Weighting all kinds of risk is also part of your strategy. And a well-defined, this will actually, if you include all these topics that we have discussed prior to this will actually give you a well-defined export document, export plan, which we will discuss a bit more detail in the next lesson. But we have to know that all these points that we have raised today in our discussion will have to go into your strategic document, and you have to wait and see what is most important for you and where you have to put this aspect, and which part of your strategic document will include these aspects that we have looked at. From this document, what I gave you today, we will try to develop a strategic plan in the next lesson. But what I wanted to tell you today is that all these aspects that I have mentioned has to go into your strategic document. And once you have identified all this will become the source for your planning. And I have another question here which says, are the strategy documents a static document? Let me put it this way: considering it as a static document will be a big mistake. This is the most dynamic document that you have to see, because the environment, trading environment is changing so fast, whether it's nationally or internationally. So you have to relook at this document all the time to change what you need to improve on or add on, or purely change the whole thing because things outside have changed. The export strategy and export plan are very dynamic documents and must be flexible as possible. It has to be constantly reviewed and updated based on challenges and the changes that are taking place in the trading environment, and updated on current available information. That is important. So much of new information will come to you, whether it is as simple as a change in foreign exchange rates, or as big as a trade agreement that has occurred between two countries, or an embargo or a trade ban put on by a certain country because of some reason. So all these changes in the trading environment has to be included into your strategy document as you look at it again, because failing to do so is putting your export at risk and leading to losses, and you can't even cut losses because you have not made the changes that are necessary based on what's happening in the world today. Also, it can change the cost and risk considerations. Once things change place outside, your strategic document that looks at risk and costs will also be affected. That is why I say that considering it to be a static document is a big mistake. Strategy document is a very dynamic, very versatile, and very flexible. And the company must make sure that all changes that are taking place around the trading environment must be included in the strategic document that you will create. Okay, Shukri, are you still there? Shukri?
I'm here, Mr. Haridass.
Okay, I have. Yeah. Oh, Faiz, you're there. Good.
Yeah, I'm here, but cannot see me. I'm sorry.
Okay.
There's a lot of trouble going on today.
Okay, all technical thing, but I have finished my slides. Do you have any written questions coming in?
I have a quick question here. One question is: are the strategy documents are static documents?
Oh, I've answered that question.
Oh, you answered. The 5 questions you already answered, right?
Yeah. Yang question from a participant ada kah?
So far not yet.
Not yet, huh? Okay. So if they want question, have they put out the poll lah? Tak ada kan?
Tak ada.
Okay, all right.
I cannot see ini. So
okay. If they have any questions, they can ask me now. They can type in.
So have the participant answer the question posed? Okay, Mr. Haridass, I don't think there's a question now for today.
Okay.
So is there any last word from you, Mr. Haridass?
Yeah.
I don't think it's last now. Maybe a few words.
Just let me see my next slide. Okay. I think what we spoke today will be continued in the next module. In the next module, we will look at how to design an export strategy and how to develop. With regards to that, I have put in a video which is appearing on your screen now. Have a look at that particular video. If you can take a print screen or just take a photograph and type into, and when you have time, it's just a short video, maybe about 6 minutes or something like that. Have a look at it with regards to why we need and what are the challenges of designing an export strategy and what it takes to design an export strategy. Today, we spoke about what needs to be in a strategy. Next session, we will see how to put this into an export strategy and take control of your export activities. Please view this video, and we will discuss this video again in the next session. That will be in next Friday, I presume. Okay, I have said anyway. Thank you for attending. And if there are still any questions, you can type in your questions to the moderator. And if not, thank you very much again. We'll see you on Friday. Okay,
Mr. Haridass, can we have 2 minutes from you?
Sure.
Regarding the polls, I got the result from the polls just now.
Okay.
The first question is, what are the challenges? So we can see that 80% mentioned that the challenges is market support.
Okay.
And 40% says that financial and product readiness.
Okay.
So
Okay.
the first question.
Market support is something that we have to work on again. I think that is, I've stressed a lot on how, see, there must be some work done by your side. Again, don't be too extravagant. Just pick up one market or the ASEAN market where we have the ATIGA in place, the ASEAN Trade in Goods Agreement, which gives you access to ASEAN market on an easier way. Or look at markets that we have trade agreements with. So, and look at one market, develop one, take it as a project, do everything and see how it works out, get all your correct information and look out, reach out to people. Again, it's not easy. It takes a little bit of work by your marketing team. Spend some time researching the market before you even think about exporting. And of course, market support, Martrade gives a lot of market support if you want to work with them or other areas. And I'm not sure other agencies, but work with some agencies. But again, focus on one market first. Start small and try to get one particular thing to start off, one particular country to start off. That is what my advice would be. The other one is financial services and product readiness.
The second one is financial.
This is something I think they have to approach the agencies and authorities, maybe speak to banks or government authorities to see how they can increase this financial support for these companies. Maybe SME Development Corporation can assist. I'm not really, but it's good to know that the reason why we had this poll is it's good to know which are the areas that the companies are having problem. On a policy level, hopefully, I think we can take this up to other agencies that would be able to support companies with regards to finance. And the product readiness is something you have to do yourself. Again, I've spoke a lot of product readiness, how you want to make your products ready. It's a challenging thing, yes, because each country, especially in the chemical area, the requirements, the rules and regulatory requirements are a bit more complex and demanding. So you have to do your product readiness, get some professional help, get people to look and give an external opinion on how you can make this better, a little bit more market research on your product, especially when it comes to quality management. And that's the only way we can improve the product. Again, like I said, I like to repeat, when you make a product, try to make it for export, not only for domestic, then you'll have less problems or less challenges later. Okay.
Okay, since Mr. Haridass, thank you for your suggestion. Since we have another 5 minutes, I think we can open the second question polls for the participants. Is it okay, Mr. Haridass?
Sure,
okay,
sure.
we would like to the attendees to answer the second question. Okay, the question is how was the COVID-19 pandemic affected you? So as you can see the post in your screen now, I will allow 2 minutes to answer the question. So the first is A, increased cost of production, delay in raw materials, delaying in shipping, reduction in orders, cash flow challenges. So please, participant, if you can answer the second question, I'll give you around 1 minute or 1 minute plus. So please. Okay, thank you for the answer. I give is another 30 seconds. 20 seconds. Okay, thank you everyone for answering the question. Mr. Haridass, we already got
Yeah.
the answers.
Uh-huh.
So from the post, 50% of the attendees says that the cash flow challenges, and another 50%, 25% answers increased cost of production and delay in raw material support.
Oh, okay. Anyway, thank you for this poll. In fact, I don't. It's not I'm not going to give an explanation for this at this moment. We just wanted to see how this pandemic is affecting some of our companies, to see how whether it's MPC or can do something or help you all basically to face these challenges. And thank you for your answer. Hopefully we can come up with some kind of a lecture on this and see what are the probabilities, what are the problems faced by companies, and see how we can assist the companies in facing these problems. Also, we need this feedback from the companies to tell us what are the challenges on the ground. Thank you.
Yes, I think Mr. Haridass is good. It's a good idea that MPC open a discussion amongst the entrepreneurs, and trying to get a suggestion on how we can manage the effect of the COVID-19, right? But at the same time, MPC has already held a few talks regarding this matter. But if the attendees would like to know more about what MPC activities are, you can just open the MPC's website. There is a lot of information regarding this.
Okay.
So I think this is the final and last from you, Mr. Haridass. Your last word.
Yep.
This is the real final one.
Yes, done. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, thank you, everyone. See you in the next session, which is on Friday at 3 p.m. In developing an export strategy, right?
Yes, designing a strategy. Yeah.
Designing a strategy. Okay, Thanks, everyone. Hope to see you again. Thank you, Mr. Haridass. Thank you for everything.
You.
Sorry
Bye-bye.
for the. Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.